Hey everybody, it's Dan with Pain For You. I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of green coming into these trees. So I'm back home and was at a long drive yesterday. 17 hours driving from St. Petersburg, Florida up to Pennsylvania. It's a bit windy, so I'm standing pretty close to the house. Anyway, today's topic is going to be the fuel. All right, what's the gasoline for this whole process? Before I do that, let's take a couple of breaths, feet on the ground. It's a nice slow inhale, exhale. Breathe in the confidence, breathe out the skepticism. Breathe in the happiness, breathe out the unhappiness. All right, so today's video is going to be called The Fuel. And what do I mean by that? Well, TMS, mind-body syndrome, this whole distraction pain process, stress illness, the pains that we have, the chronic illness that we have, they are all fueled by two things in my impression: fear and attention, right? Fear absolutely fuels your pain and your other symptoms. The more we fear them, the more power these symptoms have over us. And attention is also the other fuel for our symptoms or pains. So it becomes really important that if you want to put out the fire of your symptoms or your pains, essentially what we want to do is turn off the fuel. We want to starve the fire from the two things that it desperately needs the most, because with no attention and no fear, the pain loses its significance very quickly. And when you don't place any attention or fear on the symptoms, you're sending a really strong message to the subconscious brain that says, hey, this stuff's no longer important. And so that makes it very easy to do what I call having an attitude of indifference. Really saying, whatever. I'm not fearing it, and I'm not going to give it much attention. So the mindset of indifference becomes easier and easier when you starve the symptoms or pain of this fear and the attention. Right? So how do we actually do that? It's a decision. And I use the words choice and decision all the time, right? It is a decision. We can literally say, I am no longer afraid. Yes, I will acknowledge the symptoms, the pains, they can be massively uncomfortable, but they're not unsafe. They are not damaging us. Our bodies are not frail or broken. We have this thing that Dr. Sarno called TMS. I like to call it too much stress, but yeah, so the way to really reduce the fear is through accurate knowledge and accurate diagnosis or assessment, right? So if you knew what TMS was, and if you're watching my videos, you probably know what that is. If you know what this mind-body syndrome is, and you understand it really well, that, hey, my body is actually not the reason for my symptoms, that certainly lowers the fear a lot. And when you go through the several assessments that are available out there through my website, or even the ppdassociation.org, once you do the assessment and it indicates that you've got TMS, now you've got knowledge and the assessment, which basically say you're not broken. So what happens to your fear level? It drops considerably. Now I know it's extremely easy to get worked up worrying about, oh my God, what if the pain comes back? What if it hurts? Oh, you get up in the morning and you lay in bed and go, how bad's today gonna be? And we're really fearing a sensation that is not dangerous. Now I would understand if you were fearing somebody literally stabbing you in the back with a knife, and that would leave the tissue damage and could actually kill you. I do understand the fear. And I'm not dismissing your fears. I do understand that it is scary to hurt that badly. But when you realize and you use your logical thinking brain to say, well, I know what TMS is, and I know I have it, and I know this sensation, as uncomfortable, as massively uncomfortable as it is not harmful to me, then we can literally decide, and yes, it is a decision, to say, I'm not going to fear it because it is not injurious to me. It does not injure me. It does not leave a lasting result in my body. Yes, massively uncomfortable, but not unsafe. So by turning down the fear through logic and reason, assessment, knowledge, it becomes even more easy to shift our focus and turn our attention away from the symptoms and the pains. And by doing so, you're going to starve the symptoms and the pain from their primary fuels, which is fear and attention. So it's a pretty simple, pretty straightforward concept here. But if you find yourself always fearing the symptoms or the pains, and you're always placing your attention on it, and you're watching it and monitoring it and managing it and desperate to heal it, you're probably going to keep it persistent, and it's going to stick around. Why? Because that fire called pain or symptoms is fueled by your attention and your fear. So through appropriate knowledge and assessment, you can turn down the fear levels. You can decide not to be afraid because you know your body is fine, and this pain, as bad as it is not dangerous. And then through lowering of the fear, you can literally take on that mindset of, whatever, I don't care about these symptoms. And by doing that, like I said, you send a message to the brain, and the brain learns that the things that you do not pay attention to, it does not need to keep them wired. Those connections in the brain that are kept together through your fear and focus and attention can start to loosen up and let go. And when you shift your attention away from these symptoms, more often than not, and pull away the fear, which is the fuel, the brain will get the message and eventually let go. And like I said in the outcome independence video I recently shot, don't watch the clock, don't watch a calendar. That just puts more pressure on yourself. And so pull away the fear, pull away the attention. The brain will eventually get the message, and don't care how long it takes, because by focusing your attention on living your life and enjoying yourself and actually connecting with others and doing things that have purpose and meaning and joy, you're going to lead a better life right there, right on the, right that second, even if you still have some symptoms and pain sticking around. So choose to have a better life. Choose to be happy. Do it now, because saying, I'll be happy when the pain's gone, you're going to make it more difficult for yourself to let the pain go. So, fear and attention are the fuel for the symptoms and the pains. So by starving the symptoms and pain of the two things it feeds on, it'll go away. May take a little bit of time, but that's okay. But it's doing the right thing. So hopefully you found this beneficial, helpful, and so it's time to starve your symptoms and pain. So pull away the fear, decide you're not going to be afraid anymore, decide you're going to shift your attention away from the pains or symptoms more often than not, and you'll see what happens. So comment below, let me know your thoughts. Love you guys and gals, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.